right, welcome back. So this is part 2 of fixing my X-Maxx. So this is my original X-Maxx. We had some parts show up from the Basher Queen, which we'll get in next time. This is for the giveaway build. So we'll be seeing that very soon. All the parts are coming in. This will be a sponsored product for the giveaway. So we're going to put this aside until we get onto that. But shout out Basher Queen. Makes some awesome products out there. So we're going to get into opening that. But I had some parts shipped over because I didn't have any bearings to fix this motor. So now we got the bearings in, and as you see, they are a sealed bearing, which is something I normally don't run on a motor, but I run a shielded bearing, but you can run a sealed bearing. These were made and designed for this motor. So we're going to pop this thing back apart so that I could change out and show you what's going on with that side-to-side slop that's destroying gears, because that's literally what it's doing, is it's destroying gears. I keep snapping pinions, I keep breaking spurs. Luckily I have the DGM gears. I keep calling them DGM. I think they're DGM. DMG, MGD, I don't know. I got the upgraded gears for this thing, which basically stopped breaking spur gears. But now I keep chipping pinion gears. And yes, I'm running factory 18 tooth pinions. I don't know if I should have a pinion for this. I don't know what tooth pinion I'll put in it. Normally I run an 18, but I might be out of 18 tooth pinions from Traxxas, because that's normally the ones I run. So we're going to pop this apart. I'm going to pop out this bearing. It's this slop here. Look at the cover. See how much it rocks back and forth? There's so much play, and this bearing is so shot that it's creating an issue. And it's creating a bad whine from this bearing. Now, hopefully what they sent me is the right ones, because it specifically says for the Traxxas Xmaxx motor, which takes a very small center hole. I have the outer diameter bearings. I have a ton of bearings from all different makes, models. These are all aftermarket bearings. But I didn't have one that would fit this. So now we have a sealed bearing, which hopefully will last longer. Oh yeah. So the slop left and right when the bearing's loose. I want to show you guys this. There is a little shaft wear, but that's all the slop I have now, and I don't have any side-to-side play anymore. I do have some wiggle this way, which I think is normal, but no left to right slop. And because I don't trust the back bearing, I'm also going to change that bottom bearing. Now this does have shims here, and you got to be very careful and not get this stuck to anything. So I'm going to put this in a safe spot. Basically on top of the plastic, it sucked all the bearings up because this is a big magnet and I don't want it to collect anything. So I'm going to try to get, looks like I'm going to have to remove this rear as well, like I did the front. So I'm going to pop this rear cover off, and we're going to put a bearing in this. This is going to be interesting, taking notation of how the cover goes back on. So you can see this, and now we have to try to get this out. I should have a hook somewhere, so I'm going to try to get it out with my hook. And this bearing feels really good compared to the front one. But we're going to change them both anyway because I just don't trust them anymore. I definitely trust the older motor bearing. And it's funny. This is my new X-Maxx, where my old X-Maxx doesn't have this issue. I haven't had bearings go out in that thing, and that thing's 4 years old and been through a lot more than this brand new RC has been through. And that's why I keep saying, what has Traxxas changed? Did they change their motor supplier? Which I believe they did, because Castle's motor supplier, which I believe was the same as Traxxas motor supplier, they filed bankruptcy, which, you know, almost put Castle out of business as well. But Castle luckily found a different supplier that would meet their specifications on what they do, because as you know, Castle is an ESC builder, and they just give specifications for motors that they need to work with their ESCs. At least that's the way I took it when I was told that about Traxxas. So, and I still am using this pin design with the 18 tooth. So the back has got this brass sleeve on it for the back bearing, and that's probably why the bearing lasts so well. I wonder if the front bearing has a sleeve in it. I don't think so. Let that slap right in there. See, I don't see a brass sleeve on this, but if there's a brass one for the back, they gotta make a brass one for the front. So this would have to go this way, I would take it. And these are so small, I just do them by hand. They're small, short, that kind of stuff. So we're going to pop in these 3 little screws and then hook this motor back up. See if it makes any noise. And see if it was the bearings themselves, or is it something internal in the motor. As I said, it felt like bearings to me. There we go. Let's plug this motor back in. Let's give her a listen. And I will throw the link to the bearings for the motor from eBay in the description, so if you guys want to check it out. I don't know how long that supplier will have motors, but we'll see here shortly how fast he runs out if you guys all go out and buy these bearings. It is a vendor that I buy on eBay a lot. I buy a lot from that vendor, and they seem to be pretty good. So I'm going to hold this motor. Look at how quiet that is. Just don't go full trigger. So that's all we needed to test. Nice and quiet. It was the motor bearings. So 100%. God, that plug is terrible. 100% was motor bearings. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing all slapped back together. I'm going to pop on this heatsink deal again. I really like the Traxxas motors, even though I run the Max 6. What is that? Garbage in there. Make sure my pins are in the right spot. Make sure that my plug sure my lights is not in there. There we go. Motor is down. We're going to flip the X-Maxx over and get the bolts put back in the motor. Well, actually I'm not, because I don't know what pinion I have. Let's grab some pinions. So I got a 17, which might be okay. That's close to the 18. I'd like probably to run a 20. 16. I did just buy a bunch of gears. 15. 19. So I'm going to run the 19, and we know that the DGM gear that I showed you guys is a 50. So it says 1950, they're going to go in slot C. So we're going to move the pins to C. And that's how easy it is to do a gear swap. There we go. Now some people remove the pins altogether and adjust it themselves, but I like the pins for the type of bashing I do. Get one bolt in there so I can flip it upside down. And we can put the other 4 in, and then it's funny, you can tell that the position is moved by how hard it's been trying to rip these bolt hole things out. And it's pretty much almost ripping this one out. I'm going to throw a washer on this screw because it's starting to pull that one through. That should do right there. Bad thing about plastic chassis, that's better. And I'm going to crisscross. And I'm going to throw another washer on here because that could be another reason if this motor is shifting around in this plastic. It could be causing it to chip teeth too, and also causing that motor bearing to go bad. So, wow. Throw those screws over here. And no, I should be able to put this on. We're going to toss this undercover stuff on real quick because I've already done all my inspections. Now, I do have diff cups coming as well. If you guys saw how bad the diff cups look on the rear of this one, I bought a bunch of diff cups to get them changed out for these front and rear differentials. I'm assuming the front looks just as bad, but it's not always the case. It could just be. So these 4 holes line up with your motor holes, and I do leave the screws in them. So just put it that way, make sure it's secure, and the front and rear can go on first. You don't have to take this to slip these off, you can slip them out. I get all this tightened up, starting from center out. You don't have to crisscross this one. Just start from the center and work your way out, because it locks in. So you really don't need to crisscross anything. I wish this wheelie bar was adjustable, but it's not, and that's what makes it strong. So I mean, theoretically, I could cut the wheelie bar off. I just don't want to do it. I really feel like this and the way they have it supports the back of this so much. Now let's get this 19 tooth on, and there is no grub screw in there. Let me grab a grub screw. So let's grab one of these grub screws. Make sure to close the package so it doesn't fall out. Make sure that this fits. We are golden. I'm going to grab some red Loctite, because when these motors get hot, they will back off. Alright, just drilled out the D-shaped, which are pretty expensive gears. They're for the ARMA motors, and I bought them through Saga, which really stops you from stripping them. But the Traxxas, I needed to drill it out. So, took a couple of stages to drill it out. Didn't figure it was worth showing. And I only drilled it out about halfway so that I could utilize the D-shaped. There we go. And this drill bit is 13/64 is what I used, was the final to drill out that D-shaped gear, which is an ARMA thing. But Saga also makes those D-shaped gears for speed runners and, you know, a lot of motors that have the little retaining clip. So now that I've got that together, motors in, gears on, we're going to go ahead and power this thing up, and we're going to take a listen to this drivetrain and make sure everything else with this RC is okay. And as you see, I got the gear pretty fast off eBay. I found a vendor that I could basically second day air it for a cheap cost. So that's what I did. There we go, powered up. Traxxas TQI remote, which is the upgrade from the standard TQ, because the TQI gives you the option for the link. And gives you one more button on top and a lot of other cool features. So the gears are sounding a little funny just because the chipped tooth, they put a little ding. Put a little ding in my ding-a-ding. Let's see. I don't think I have. I don't even see. You should never grease your gears, your pinion and spur, but I am going to throw a little bit on it. Not greasing them, just adding really noisy. I want to look at See how much bite I got. Just want to make sure that I got the settings right on the pins, and there is slop. So that will wear in. Right, so that should be good enough. I got the mesh. Mesh feels good. Gear's just a little noisy, and that's because looks like I might have had this 19 tooth on something. Plus this spur has been taking a beating, chipping all these teeth, but I think it's going to be fine. But we're going to find out. Want to make sure that the Loctite stuff didn't back off, because I didn't really let it dry much. And these are hardened gears, so there we go. Get the remote off. So we're gonna get this thing charged up. This thing's all back together now, and I should be able to take this one out and get it ripping. Like I said, I hate having RCs that are down, so whenever I can get them back together as fast as I can, I try to do, especially if parts are available. Because right now, everybody knows our part shortage out there is really driving a lot of people crazy. You can't get all your RCs back together like you want after you break them, because you can't always get parts for them anymore. If you're gonna take something apart, always try to get it back together as fast as you can, just so you don't lose stuff like I did. So there we go. Then I'm gonna get these wheels put back on. These do have a direction, rotation. Always check for the rotation. And I got the upgraded orange nuts when I did the shocks. So I use a 17 millimeter 12 point on these Traxxas style nuts. Just because it's not a popular socket for my toolbox. Alright, so the last thing I have to do to this X-Maxx is I'm going to go ahead and replace this one arm. I'm going to leave the orange arm on there, or maybe I'll change both white in the front, and I'll keep these as backup arms. But you don't need to watch me change that stuff out. Everything else at this point is repaired. So we should be able to get out and rip this thing now, and my motor slop is gone, which I'm very happy about. And we did catch a rear bearing that's bad. Now I do have the upgraded Traxxas aluminum front hubs on this, so that got new bearings, but I didn't put the RPM ones on the back of this. This has still got the stock Traxxas ones, which, as you see, this isn't a stock Traxxas bearing because it's black. The Traxxas ones are blue. So this is an aftermarket bearing that failed, and this is one that I have greased. This is a fast eddy, so I'm going to take this apart, get it cleaned up, and re-grease it and put it back together, and it'll probably be fine. But this sloppy front bearing is not fine. I'm going to toss both of these because I don't want to stick these bearings in anything. Even though the one bearing, this one is okay, I might keep that just in case this bearing's shot, and you can see all the grease on it. But like I said, I bought 2 sets, so I do have another set for my other X-Maxx in case that one breaks. I just don't think it's going to, because I haven't had an issue with it in 4 years. So, but I have another set of bearings. Buy everything in 2. We're going to steal the grub screw out of this one and lose this to the trash can. And that's it, guys. There we go. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.